that Star Wars is so gay already.
Okay.
I mean, have you seen the fits? We'd be like, look how gay this is, and then send each other a reference photo.
And are you telling me, with a straight face, that C-3PO is straight?
Well, he's a robot.
Supporting character.
And we only know, I get it, it's hard to tell the difference between British and gay, but
true.
we know he doesn't have a penis. So you all know that Disney, of course, people say go woke, go broke, but we want to go beyond slogans. They have deliberately, proactively alienated a huge portion of their audience in pushing feminism and pushing intersectionality, and they lost, I think, $150 billion in market cap. But now, according to reports, this comes from Variety, Disney is desperate to win back the young male audience. Here's a quote. Leadership at Walt Disney Studios has been pressing Hollywood creatives in recent months. Multiple sources tell Variety for movies that will bring young men back to the brand in a meaningful way. Young men is defined here by sources as ages 13 to 28, aka Gen Z. So we'll get to the numbers and how catastrophic this is for Disney, but believe your lying eyes and ears. If you've seen anything Disney's done since 2019, you can notice the pattern.
He almost tasted that. Num, eat it up. Go play okay, 3, 2, 1. You know I'm the hottest. You ain't never gotta heat me up.
The power of one. The power of two. The power of many.
You?
Lost boys.
Every last one of us. But you're not all boys. So?
It never goes the other way.
Lost kids then?
Lost. Lost Boys become girls. Ocean's 11 becomes Girls 11. Ghostbusters becomes Girls Ghostbusters. You don't see Snow White become a pansexual male. You don't see anything that has been known to be for by women, which, by the way, was sort of the basis of Disney, a lot of princess material. That never gets commandeered, that never gets appropriated by men. It only goes one way, and at a certain point, that becomes insulting. When you combine that with a hefty dose of social engineering, we've been talking about this for decades. Nick DiPaolo's been talking about this for even more decades. But now it's gotten so bad that even people who don't share your political beliefs, or beefs, I guess.
Either way.
They notice it. Watch this. It's a little long, but hold on, pause. It's a little long, but it's really worth the payoff. Even Snoop Dogg's pissed.
Moms are raising women in their sons. I think that they're coddling their sons and they're hardening their daughters. And so I feel like we're inverted, especially in our community, where women are much more masculine and men are much more feminine. And I don't like that.
See, that goes back to the presentation I spoke to you earlier. What you see is what you see. They putting it everywhere.
Yeah.
I took my grandson to see, what was the movie with Buzz Light?
Toy Story?
Not that one, but
the new Buzz.
Oh, no.
The Lightyear. I think it's called Lightyear.
Yeah, with Kiki Palmer's in that movie.
Okay.
She plays like the daughter. So we watching it, and the lady, which is Kiki's mama, they move on into the space years. They move down the line. They're like, man, she had a baby with a woman. Well, my grandson in the middle of the movie like, Papa Snoop, how she have a baby with a woman? She a woman. Oh, shit. I didn't come in for this shit. I just came to watch the damn movie. Hey, man, watch the movie.
He speaks for us all.
Well, this is the thing. When the left tries, they get too aggressive because people have sort of accepted that the man always shows up as the idiot who can't do anything and boss babes. And a lot of people who are sort of normies, to use the term, will go, well, that's good. You have positive role models for both men and women. That's how they start. And then it gets to the point where women can do everything men can do and better.
Yeah.
And men can't do anything women can do. And then it gets to the point of we don't need men. And then it gets to the point of you're better off without men, like starting a family without a man. It started off, with a lot of sort of cultural, like we talked about this, Friends is a good example, where Rachel decides, oh, she has a dad who wants to be President Ross. No, she's going to be a single mom, and we're all supposed to praise her as brave and beautiful. Now we're at the point where men are sort of seen as walking sperm donors and wallets with teeth. And even Snoop Dogg sees it, and he's not a guy who shares your political beliefs. Let's look at the financials. The box office bombs here. Strange World lost $197 million.
Good.
I believe the latest Ant-Man, the Quantumania, lost $92 million. Indiana Jones lost $130 million. The Marvels lost $237 million. Snow White lost $115 million.
Yeah.
And since 2021, Disney has lost $150 billion.
Yes.
And Snoop said they dropped it like it was hot.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
By the way, all of those things that we're talking about, they're contrived. They don't even matter to the storyline.
Right.
It's just forced into the story in a way that doesn't even need to happen.
Right.
You just don't need to go gay for no reason in a story, and you'll probably be fine.
Well, this is really remarkable because Disney bought a bunch of IP, right? Superhero films, Star Wars, that had a built-in male audience. You just needed to not piss them off, and they couldn't help themselves. Which tells you, by the way, not that it would be okay destroying Western civilization or the cultural fabric of our country if it was a profit motive, but it's not even a profit motive. They thought, you know what? People will take what we give them because we can sort of get a stranglehold here on this sort of tripopoly with media, and we can force feed them, and they'll have to stick around. The truth is, they proactively lost a built-in male audience. Men left. And women never ended up really coming into the fray. Let me give you some examples as far as viewership, right, overall. You look at Star Wars, the streaming viewership, 2019 to now. The first show of The Mandalorian had 30 million. Their newest show, Acolyte, 7 million.
Jeez.
Think about that. Think about that for a second. So they alienated the men who they need to keep a brand alive proactively. We'll show you some clips. And it's just, look, do the math. A show about laser, sword, plasma, laser, whatever a lightsaber is, sword fighting and laser blasters and a giant bear with a round vest and spaceships. Who do you think, in general, this would appeal to?
To be fair, if you were the one making the trailer, they would not sell a single ticket.
That's true.
Yeah.
You'd make it sound very appeasing.
Yeah. My trailer for Star Wars would be like, it sucks, but I know some of you like this.
And done.
Bunch of nerds.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's not that it's nerdy. It's that I just don't like it.
And of the 7 million people who watched Acolyte, 5 million were hate watching.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah. And to your point, like the male percentage of their audience has stayed consistent. Women are running away from this too. The people that they thought would come on board and be like, yeah, finally some representation, they left as well because the content sucks.
Yeah. Well,
that's the point.
Yes, but they're actively thumbing.
Of course,
they're sticking their thumb in the eye of men. Like, here you go. Here are the creators of Star Wars Acolyte. Which, by the way, hey, if someone's gay, fine, whatever you want to do in your own bedroom, right? Remember that? Whatever you do in your own bedroom, sure, okay, fine. But not whatever you want to do with a legacy brand in the United States that wasn't originally for homosexuals. Here, they called it the gayest Star Wars ever, like it was a selling point.
I want to ask you both because this is, I would say, arguably the gayest Star Wars, I think, by a considerable margin. And are you excited about that? Are you bracing yourself?
Star Wars. Not the
Is
that an answer?
I think that Star Wars is so gay already.
Okay.
I mean, have you seen the fits? We'd be like, look how gay this is, and then send each other a reference photo.
And are you telling me, with a straight face, that C-3PO is straight?
Well, he's a robot.
Supporting character.
And we only know, I get it, it's hard to tell the difference between British and gay, but we know he doesn't have a penis.
Well, he did hang out with that little boy for a while.
Yeah. Yes.
So maybe he's Catholic.
That's right. And he did lose.
What?
He did lose all that weight, so I guess there is.
Wow.
Got a computer virus AIDS.
Yeah.
Whatever you do with your lightsaber.
I shouldn't have had sex with that strange man in the truck stop.
R2, give me some of your D2.
Whoa. I told you to use the enema kit, R2.
Not in that port. Ah.
And here's when it also got really bad, where it was so blatant. Look, it's fine. It's fine. You want to have a girl boss? That's fine. But, you know, it's okay to have some masculine superheroes, too, because it's mostly young boys who are into comic books. Like, it's okay. Remember this Avengers Endgame? They kicked it off with this wonderful girl boss moment that fell flat both with men and women.
I don't know how you're going to get us through all that.
I'm a woman, that's how.
Don't worry.
She's got help.
We came to make dinner.
So contrived.
And then Thanos said, I said no mayo. Bang.
Don't worry, I've got help. And then a bald lady with a spear shows
I know.
up.
And no superpowers.
Just vibranium, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, you got some good metal.
Like, even if she is the world champion javelin record holder, a high school boy could do better, let alone people with superpowers. And here's the thing. Like, they had to go out of their way to say the force is female. Whenever there's the best at something, whatever it is, and it happens to be a guy, you just say the best. But they'll always say female CEO, female athlete, female superhero, because they want to carve it out. They want both the benefit of, hold on, curb your expectations here because it still is a woman, but then also want to be able to tell you that women can do everything men can do and do it just as well. I get it. If it's a superhero, Wonder Woman versus guys, mere mortals, of course you can kick their ass. But when men get into physical confrontations with women, it's like a father with a child. There's nothing that women can do. Men are invariably stronger. And so then if they're both superheroes, you would think it's kind of a wash, and the male superhero, again, beats her ass. It's hard for us to buy. It's really difficult.
And then they want us to buy the idea that they're trying to break some kind of glass ceiling still.
Yes.
Like, oh, I got to break that glass ceiling. I saw a cooking show the other day. A lady's like, yeah, finally a woman won and broke that glass ceiling. I'm like, how many ladies have won cooking shows?
I know.
At least one a year for the last 30.
Yeah. You know what? They always win, and their prize is called a husband.
Not all of them want that prize.
Not this one. She had
Make it a
gauges in
cooking
her
and
ear.
cleaning show. That's just the dating game. And here's the thing. It used to be,
That
may
would've
the
been a good
force,
addition.
may the force be with you, right? It wasn't gendered. Then the women have to make it exclusive. So if you want to say boys club, men are not excluding women at all to the same degree that women are. It's may the force be with you, not may the force be with your cock. So they have to say the force, by the way, is female. And here is a clip of Kathleen Kennedy, who was helming Disney, talking about just that.
Years ago, you were at a charity event wearing the Nike Forces Female T-shirt, and a lot's been made like if misinterpreted. But I just want to do you want to sort of talk about just set the record straight of what that T-shirt sort of meant and
the Forces Female. I didn't know it was controversial.
Oh yeah, people were very upset.
Yeah, you didn't know it was So either you're tone deaf or you're gaslighting. Take your pick.
Gaslighting.
Chewie was a woman.
Chewie was C-3PO was gay.
Yeah,
Apparently.
well, you didn't know these things.
Yeah, I had no. I don't know because I'm so not up to date.
That's why he was always nagging Han Solo.
Yes.
We're going the wrong way. Ask for directions.
I told you that casserole should be tuna.
Get off my Millennium Falcon.
And then, of course, Brie Larson, she wasn't talking about Marvel when she did this, but it's the overall tenor and tone where young men would see women starring in roles and then okay, we'll give them a shot until they realize, oh, wait, these women in Hollywood proactively hate men. So here's Brie Larson saying that a lot of her movies are not made for white men, to which white men said, you got it.
I do not need a 40-year-old white dude to tell me what didn't work for him about A Wrinkle in Time. It wasn't made for him. I want to know what that film meant to women of color, to biracial women, to teen women of color, to teens that are biracial.
What about those people and men? I think it was a famous quote. I think it was Bob Hoskins where they said, they asked him, they said, who's the most powerful person in Hollywood? He said, the person who spends $10 on a ticket.
Yes.
It's going to be a lot of men. It's almost like it's close to half the audience. And it's almost like it's more than half the audience as it relates to spaceship pew pew and superhero programs.
Yeah. Don't you have to go into that with art like this? I understand that you don't always just want to make something that people like Transformers or something like that. I know you mess with me about that. You don't want to make stuff like that just because, okay, I'm going to try to make as much money as possible and make a crappy film that America will go to because of the advertising. You want to kind of balance that and go, I'm going to make something a little more artistic for me or for what I'm trying to do. But then you go, but people may not like that. And so therefore, if sales aren't down, it's not because they're bad people. It's because I made something that I wanted to make.
Right.
Don't you have to have that balance in your head instead of course they're bad. I can't believe a guy told me that this sucks.
It also helps if you don't revile one gender
Well, that's
exclusively.
true. That helps.
You can just see it. It's just dripping with man-hating dogma. And I do mean the religious, dogmatic worldview that is feminism and breaking apart the patriarchy. I mean, remember She-Hulk? Like, that's one that could have been a thing. My first crush, She-Hulk.
They could have done it better.
I had a superhero card, and it was one of those superhero cards that was a hologram. It was clearly just a picture of a lady in a high-cut bikini who they animated green. And I used to take that under my bunk bed and get very comfortable. Now,
what do you mean used to? I loaned you my cards, and it came back with a crease.
I have all of them. So the creators of She-Hulk admitted that the show's angle was to troll, fans, the ones who were largely male. Because before this, it was still largely young men who read even female superhero comics. Do you guys understand that? Meaning they didn't hate women. They were interested. But then you killed it. So here's a quote. There's so much resistance to a woman just existing in that space of superheroes. And to even exist as She-Hulk is like a F you. And I love that. F you, audience who pays my salary.
Shows they never run a business before.
Yeah, well.
Okay, so what do they do now? And what does Disney have to do to bring you back? It doesn't have to be, you don't have to pander to men the way that you pander to women. And you're not even pandering to women, by the way. You're pandering to a very small slice of feminists who want to see this, right? It's women who don't want to see men in masculine roles and want to see women in masculine roles. Mostly lesbians. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. That's not the one.
The card.
That's not very hot.
No, that's not.
And you were talking to me about Topanga not being very good.
Marvel Series 2.
Jeez, bro.
It's Marvel Series 2.
I loaned you. I have 1 through 3 of a collection of Marvel cards.
Well,
it's a card.
What would Disney need to do to bring you back? And they're trying, in a failed attempt to bring back some of the straight male audience. They're actually set up to release a follow-up to their Snow White next summer. And in this case, it seems like they've gone too far the other way. It's Snow White submits to the 7 dwarves. That seems...
Oh,
thanks, Daddy.
They also have
which one of them? Which one of those dwarves was horny?
All of them. 101 Dalmatians with Glocks. Again, you don't need to go. You don't need to do this.
You're not taking their fur.
And Mary popping that ass. That seems like
well. Okay. I didn't get that, babysitter.
I'll watch all 3 of them.
And this is what happens. You have these companies that are like, and people will get mad. This isn't a racist thing. This country is large. If you want to look at the root causes of us going the wrong direction on a lot of issues, almost always you'll find a liberal white woman. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't liberal women of other races. And it doesn't mean that there aren't, of course, androgynous, liberal, white, or insert race here, men. But liberal white women are the only demographic large enough to bring us into the toxic, secular, weak, socialist culture that we've been dragged toward. There aren't enough black women. There aren't enough black men. There aren't enough Hispanic women. There aren't enough Hispanic men. White men, especially working white men, overwhelmingly don't buy into it. That's why they've been assaulting you from every angle ideologically. White women are needed to spearhead this. And when you look at a lot of these companies that have had disastrous campaigns, that's what you find. So Disney, Kathleen Kennedy, right? She became president of Lucasfilm. Bud Light, a lesson in what not to do. You had Alyssa Heinerschied, VP of Marketing. Now works for Live Golf.
Oh, come on.
Target, right, where they had transgender swimsuits for kids with tuckable pouches. Cara Sylvester, she was their chief marketing officer. She helped lead the LGBTQ push with everything that you saw at Target. Harley Davidson. You know what that needs? Heather Malinchik. She was their chief marketing officer, and she was the one who said the company needed to avoid traditional biker imagery, and she put lesbians on street bobs, and now she works for Land O'Lakes, where she ruined that. You can't even fold up the butter box where it looks like you see her breast. That's what we used to
do. What have you taken from us?
Now I'm just going to buy store brand.
Yes, exactly. It's just they can't. They are so tone deaf and in such an echo chamber. Well, they accuse you of being in an echo chamber. I don't know that they can correct it. What they're going to have to do, they would be better off grabbing any local businessman who owns a franchise of Jack in the Boxes or Taco Bell's or just someone like that, someone with a basic business sense who could look at their numbers, say, okay, what are your demographics? Oh, just don't insult the people who buy your product.
I've never seen it.
And
You know that?
I knew it. I've never seen it.
Yes.
Nice.
And it says utter too. That's fun.
It is.
Yeah. It's great.
Hey, and here's the thing. If you want to market exclusively to women, you can do that too. Just make sure that you also provide something for men. Like, look at what they do in Japan, anime. And I don't watch anime, but for example, they have 2 separate categories. They have Shonen, which is anime for teenage boys. That's like the Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, Demon Slayer. And then they have Jose, I think is how it's pronounced. Anime for girls, young women focusing on relationships, emotions, daily life. And it's okay. It's okay for girls and women to have their thing and guys and men to have their thing. They have no problem with it. How about you just do that, Disney? Or how about you go back to what it is that made you what you are? Now, I know they're going to have to change a whole lot because the classic corporate cost structure doesn't apply anymore. But this has been a proactive campaign to insult, to degrade, to attack masculinity. And our society is worse off for it. And you see that reflected in people like Mamdani, in people like AOC, in Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and you can say what you want about Donald Trump, but at least, and he's flawed, I get it, but at least it's return to masculinity where men don't feel that they have to be ashamed and women don't feel as though they're out of masculine options. Women, if you're watching, do you honestly think that that you have better prospects now than your mother did, than your grandmother did, as far as picking a man? I'm not hearing that. That's not what we're seeing in the numbers.
Yeah. And by the way, I just want to say that you could have employed a different strategy at Disney. You could have kept the masculine stuff masculine. There were still strong female roles in some of those. You could have played off of those a little bit and created something brand new for women. Sure. Or a different audience, like you're talking about with the anime stuff. But every time they tried to create something like new, like what was it? Not Lost World. What was that? The
Lost Boys
Strange
were now
World.
girls.
Strange World,
where it was
where they shoehorned in a gay relationship very early on in the movie. The part that I would skip if my boys watched it. It was very short, and then at the very end, right at the beginning, and it lost tons of money. Shouldn't that tell you something? Shouldn't that tell you like people just don't really, when that's the thing, people don't want it.
Yeah.
So just don't do that. Don't ruin stuff. And even when you took the Star Wars thing and made Acolytes and tried to do something off of that, you can compare Mandalorian to Acolytes. People don't want it at all. Even if you tailor it in for Star Wars, they hate it. Just go away from it.
Yeah, they did have a strong female character people liked. Gina Carano got rid of her because she posted something thoughtful on Instagram.
Yeah, but even Princess Leia, going back to the original stuff, wasn't like she was feminine, and people would be like, how dare she? But she was also in charge.
Yeah.
And she had good ideas on how to survive. Like, there were very practical things that she did well. Right. She manipulated the guys, which was perfect. Like, this was a cool female character. You didn't have to.
She didn't have to survive in space,
right,
without oxygen and then fly herself around literal space.
That's true. Yeah. I thought the ship
she was just a really cool leader
into a million pieces, and I was very disappointed when it didn't.
Well, you guys can let us know. I mean, I just think this is. I don't know that they can fix it, and I will say this: a lot of people were complaining. And I was saying, just stop watching it. Well, it turns out when you stop watching it, now they have to respond. So, yeah, your dollar, voting with your feet, does make a difference. And I would say, keep putting the pressure on them until they start getting it. They are going to have their faces rubbed in it to understand this. And then be vigilant, because they'll always veer back to it. They are surrounded by a bunch of people who want to socially engineer you. And here's the thing, too. I have twin boy, girl. Right? If you think that gender is a social construct, go have twins, one boy, one girl. Okay? You see very quickly that they are different. And I know I'm going to have to raise them differently. And I love both of them. I have to raise her to know that she is not a perfect princess and that everything she does isn't amazing in spite of the fact that she's a woman. And I'm going to have to let him know that he's not a piece of crap who needs to check his privilege because he's a white male. It's two very different forms of messaging. And that's not good for anybody, because then you have men checking out of the dating pool. You can only vilify people for so. If you treat your viewers as the villain, they will become your villain. Disney turned their male viewers into their very own Captain Hook. How's that for irony? This has been Entertainment Minute. All right. Now going on to, there's no segue here. Chicago.
Can we just end it with the picture of the card?
What card?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's fair.
Let me see.
It's got to be,
Let me see.
quick to the draw.
That's it.
There it is.
That is it. Come on, nice gams.
She also has a hammer.
She does have a hammer.
Practical.
It's a sledgehammer.
I don't mind it. She could put
Yeah.
that to good use. You're still here on YouTube. Remember when we could say whatever we wanted on YouTube and people didn't have to censor out words like gay? See, even that, right? That's not even a swear word. Or the word sex. Even if you're just talking about it, you're not saying anything profane. That's why I live stream on Rumble 5 days a week. Go subscribe over there on Rumble, where you get the live show every single day. If you're still using this archaic form of delivery for information on YouTube, I don't want to judge, but your father hates you.